Hi there, welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm. And I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go. Hello and welcome back to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm, the CEO of KLC Consulting and the founder of the Pop Aesthetic Leadership Academy, where we are on a mission to help 100 inspiring and intentional women cross the next $1 million milestone in their business this year. Thank you for tuning in today, y'all. So this is episode 68. And today I really want to continue the conversation from last week's episode 67, The Quest to Find Your Mini-Me. I got so much feedback about that topic, mostly people saying to me, Kaylee, I've been needing to clone myself. And I know that that is my biggest barrier to growth right now. And, I thought I should jump on this week and really continue that conversation. And if you haven't had a chance to listen to that episode, be sure to go back to gain some context around today's conversation. Essentially, we discussed a powerful inflection point that happens with some of our most in-demand aesthetic injectors and clients of all specialties for that matter. It's a point where it's time to level up and to do the internal work to really reposition yourself from, let's call it an overworked injector, to a woman who is ready to step into her role as a bossed up CEO and build a real company. And in order to accomplish this, essentially, it's time to scale your business so you can generate more revenue without working 24/7, which means it's time to hire other team members to do what you do. But the big elephant in the room, the $1 million question, is how do I convince my clients who I have earned trust and loyalty from, who come to me for my brilliant work, to get injected by somebody else, right? And so I shared in last episode just a sneak peek that I will be releasing this fall a limited edition private podcast called Confidence to Scale. And this is really a series of 5 powerful audio trainings that will walk you through a step-by-step blueprint to priming yourself and your systems to attract and fully book your next injector, and then build a business model that is able to scale with you at the helm. And after the 5 weeks, we will host an invite-only focus group for these participants to meet, collaborate, and commune with colleagues. And during this workshop, we'll really share best practices for building recurring revenue, creating proprietary methods and offers, hiring dream employees, and really challenging the industry status quo. I'll explain how to gain access to the wait list for this private podcast later in the episode, so stay tuned for that. So for today, you are tuning into episode 68, Is Your Aesthetic Business Ready to Scale? And I'd like to share with you why I decided to create this private podcast, the opportunities I see for advanced injectors in our industry, and I really want to take you a layer deeper into the curriculum I will cover over the course of the 5 weeks in Confidence to Scale. And I'm really going to break down this episode into 3 parts. And all of these 3 parts are really intertwined to answer that question, is your aesthetic business ready to scale? Number 1, I want to evaluate the industry statistics and predictions for what this means for aesthetic injectors. Number 2, I'd love to discuss the goal of the private podcast series I'll be hosting. And then finally, part 3, we'll give an overview of what you can expect to learn over the course of the 5 weeks in this program. So let's start by diving into part 1, evaluation of industry statistics and predictions for what this means for aesthetic injectors. According to the Aesthetic Plastic Surgery National Databank statistics, you guys probably all check out the Aesthetic Society report every year, which is a beautiful report that compiles all of our industry data, analytics on a micro and a macro level. And looking at 2020's numbers actually quite shocked me considering the craziness with COVID. The aesthetic industry generated over $9 billion in revenue in 2020. And what's even more significant to me is that non-surgical procedures accounted for a whopping, get this, $3.1 plus billion. So 1/3 of all of aesthetic revenue. And that being the top non-surgical procedures, almost, let's say, 2.6 billion. And when we look at the top non-surgical procedures, coming in number 1 is neurotoxins, and coming in number 2 is dermal fillers. And aesthetic injectables show no sign of slowing. So let's jump into part 2, which is what the heck does this mean? Okay, so for aesthetic injectors, there are some pros, right? Demand is surging. There are more patients that are seeking out non-surgical procedures, that are really buying into the idea of Botox and filler being part of their aesthetic routine. The cons, there are more and more providers jumping into the injectable game. So we really see the barrier to entry getting lower and lower, and injectors of all different specialties really coming in and trying to get a piece of the pie. So what does that mean for a scaled advanced aesthetic injector? If you have an established distinct brand, there's really an opportunity to expand that brand. Maybe it looks like opening new locations. Maybe it looks like capitalizing on the brand that you have already built with your patient database. It could look like hiring new people. It really is an opportunity to say, hey, I've built something significant, and now how do I capitalize on this marketplace? But there's a challenge. Great injectors are in high demand, but find it increasingly difficult to service that demand at scale. So that's essentially the goal of this podcast, to address one of the most critical roadblocks that we face with our 7-figure injectors, and that is how to scale their genius work. So let's talk about what that means. And I'd like to just sort of give an overview of what the difference is between growth and scale, because I think that these words sort of used interchangeably, and they're used sometimes in not the correct context. So when we're talking about growth, right, the definition of growth is a quantitative increase in size. So this is a place where we essentially grow. We grow in revenue, but we also grow in costs, time, and resources to support that growth. So maybe it means we're making more money, but we're having to spend more money on marketing, right? Or we're making more money, but we're having to work longer hours to service that demand. On the contrary, there's scale. So scale, by definition, would be a quantitative increase in size that does not require more resources. So essentially, this is a place where we're able to produce more revenue without the proportionally variable costs, time, and resources. So essentially, one method brings more headaches, the other does not. So in this series, we will discuss how to achieve what I call the seemingly impossible goal. How do I convince somebody who is loyal to me to get treated by somebody else? Essentially, how do I clone myself? And when we're talking about the brilliance of scaling your business, this is where we, in essence, put systems and structures and strategies in place, team in place, to give us the ability to make more money without requiring more of our time. And so I'm going to jump into part 3, the meat behind this episode, and that is what you can expect to learn over the course of the 5 weeks of this private podcast series, Confidence to Scale, that I'm going to be launching this fall. Week 1, we're going to talk about unearthing your $1 million confidence. So why is this important? Why does this have anything to do with scaling? Well, number 1, it addresses what I discussed last week. Again, having really the mindset around shifting your value and your sense of contribution and worthiness in your business from the one-on-one work that you do to what you are building as a CEO. And that really comes down to your mindset as an entrepreneur. And most business owners set out on their entrepreneurial journey with this passion and ambition to build a business that will become a legacy. They're eager, they're willing to take risk, unrestrained in many ways. And then reality kicks in. Like, oh, shit hits the fan. roadblocks, setbacks, unwelcome challenges, unexpected adversities. And then they lose that uninhibited confidence and fierce belief in their vision that would become a reality no matter what. And then they become scared to take risks. They lose faith in themselves and others. They lose patience in the process. And instead of going all in to stay on course, they quote unquote try different things by barely dipping their toe in and never going all in on that one single thing. Do you remember when you were 8 years old, you would climb any tree, jump from any height, dance in front of anyone? You had $1 million confidence that would guide you to your destination. Building that $1 million confidence is really that first milestone into your journey to epic freedom in your business and life. And really the most powerful work we will do together is to help you develop that childlike confidence to try new things, to take that leap of faith, and to make small commitments to your own personal growth that will build your belief in yourself and your resilience to weather the ups and downs. And once we've talked about that $1 million confidence, in week 2, I'm going to go into really setting up bossed up boundaries. Here's the thing. Clear boundaries are paramount to running a thriving aesthetic business at full speed. Boundaries impact every single aspect of your business, including time, the services you offer, the marketing strategy, the operations, your team, right? Setting and honoring these boundaries is critical for leaders to have the ability to scale a deeply satisfying, lucrative, freedom-based business. And the biggest reason people don't set boundaries is because humans are wired to adopt a scarcity mindset. Simply put, we have a primal fear of running out of resources and getting rejected. Scarcity mindset follows these principles. More is better. There's never enough. That's the way it is. A scarcity mindset drives reactivity, poor business decision-making, and overwhelm. And what do you do when you're in this state? You guessed it. Add more complexity, buy more things, hire more people, plug more holes. This is not the formula to scaling your business. So success starts by approaching your business and life with a sufficiency mindset. I am enough. I have enough. Success will come. And then drawing a line in the sand to protect your standards and hold other people accountable to respecting them in return. Once we've learned how to establish really critical boundaries in your business, then in week 3, we're going to talk about developing a proprietary method. An important part of creating iconic influence in an industry like aesthetics is serving a population of people whose needs aren't being met, not just marketing to the same old folks poking around for the next discount. And the only way, leader, to attract high-end clients and team members who value your brilliance and are willing to pay top dollar for exceptional care is to position yourself in the market as the only obvious solution to their needs. And this gorgeous clarity and alignment around marketing your personal or professional brand comes with some very strategic work around designing your own techniques, methods, or systems that only you offer. And so in this session, I'm going to share with you the steps to creating and marketing your own proprietary method so you can stand out from the crowd and showcase yourself as a preeminent brand. Once we've learned how to create this proprietary method, then we're going to launch into week 4 curriculum, which is how to market your unique, i.e. disruptive philosophy. And during this week, we're really going to take a deep dive into what it means to be distinct in the marketplace by leading with your mission through a disruptive philosophy. You see, most business owners want to be different, want to honor their unique position, but then they get scared that their philosophy will ruffle feathers or be polarizing to the marketplace and instead lead by following others. In order to truly stand out as the obvious choice for patients in a way that will give you the ability to enroll a team into your mission is to transition your marketing messaging from what to why. And we'll help you identify the gap in your market and really learn how to specialize your proprietary method as the solution to this gap. And then week 5, finally, once you have clarity on your philosophy, clear constraints allow you to market yourself to only your most valuable buyers and the confidence to disrupt your market And then finally, week 5, clone yourself, right? Find that mini me. And here's the thing. Once you have clarity on your philosophy, clear constraints to allow you to market yourself to only your most valuable buyers, and the confidence to disrupt your market, it's time to hire an entrepreneur to step in to deliver your proprietary method. In this session, we will talk about attracting, retaining, developing, and credentialing your mini-me, allowing you to step into a CEO role, building your empire, and maintaining a deeply enriched, leisurely replenishing schedule that allows you to do your very most genius work. And then finally, week 6, I'm going to host a bonus live workshop for only the first 25 registrants for this private podcast series. And this week, we will come together as a group to share lessons learned, best practices, aha moments, and key takeaways from the series. I will answer live questions, workshop through roadblocks, and help you implement this powerful curriculum to help you catapult your business at scale. Okay, so if you're listening to this and really feel like you're at a point where the Superwoman strategy is no longer effective, i.e. the grit, the grind, the hustle that got you to where you are now is no longer helping you advance, maybe you're starting to see your wait list get longer and longer, you're ready to focus on strategic growth to advance your net worth, you're ready to prepare your practice to scale, you must join our waitlist for the fall launch of Confidence to Scale at www.klcconsultants.com/scale. If you follow me on Instagram, you can head to the link in bio. I'll also link this up in the show notes, but I would absolutely love to see you there. Okay, leader, thank you for tuning in today, and I look forward to catching up with you next week. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Fierce Factor. If you enjoyed the show, please make sure you subscribe so you can automatically get new shows every week. I'd also love it if you left us a review. And come join the conversation online. If you're an aesthetic industry owner, operator, or leader, please join my free Facebook group, The Tribe of Fierce Aesthetic Leaders, a community of ambitious, purpose-driven professionals who collaborate and share best practices for growth in business and life. I'm honored you tuned in.